Hey guys, welcome back. So with this one, we are jumping back into our talks on Immortal Thor, where now not only do we pick up with the mismatch between Odin's son and Utgard-Thor, Thanos, but also with Thor being the new king of Asgard, we take a look at some of the things that Odin had to do to go to the next level, and the sacrifices that Odin had to make, because the time has come where Thor is going to be tried, and he's going to have to make his own sacrifice in his own way. So with that said, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to catch the spills every week, and don't forget to hit that bell up top to get all notifications so we can squat up in the comments for the first hour. Alright, so jumping back in, we pick up right where we left off with Thanos, the Utgard-Thor, arriving on Midgard and confronting Thor Odinson, which led to Thor using his all-power against Thanos. And for Thor Odinson, this was the best hit that he had, with him essentially using the Thor Force, the Odin Force stacked on top of his power, his birthright, to strike with what he thought was going to be a one-hitter quitter, only to see 0 damage numbers go up instead. And this is something that takes us to a brief flashback to a younger Odin, back when he made his way to Yggdrasil and sacrificed his eye in exchange for wisdom. But as we're shown this, there's a couple things that are going on here. Cause for one, when young Odin did this, it wasn't just for the knowledge beyond knowledge, but over time, this greater knowledge and greater wisdom, it would eventually make him a more powerful and effective Allfather, which in a way makes it just as important as the All-Power itself. Cause for Odin, even though we would see through the years that the All-Power, the Odin Force, was unlimited, just OP, the measure of what Odin would be able to do with it was determined by his wisdom, which Odin obtained through great sacrifice. And secondly, we're shown this because now with Thor being the new Allfather, with the All-Power being passed down to him, the power is his birthright, that was free. In God of Hammers, we saw Odin give Thor that power in its entirety, but much like how Odin had to sacrifice to obtain the wisdom, which would unlock his true potential, the children of Odin would have to one day make their sacrifice as well. And that's something I want you guys to kind of keep in mind throughout the course of this, because one of the first things that Odin was told at the Tree of Life and Death was that everything comes at a cost. And even right now for Thor, with him using the All-Power against Thanos, he's feeling the cost of using it. Cause right now, while Thanos is taunting Thor, calling him a micro-god, and telling him how the meager power that Thor commands is nothing to someone like him, cause he's Thanos, the Thor of Utgard. He was the god of thunder when thunder first spoke. He holds the will of fate, he's thrown it at Thor and it's returning back to him. Odin's son is out of his league here, and to make matters worse, as he dodges the will of fate, he feels the all-sleep creeping up on him, which for Thor Odinson, that's the cost of using the all-power. Cause again, nothing comes without a price. And Thor is well aware if he slips into the all-sleep right now, Thanos is gonna end him, and he can only do but so much dodging and ducking, cause with the all-sleep creeping up on him, it's slowing down his reflexes. So for a moment, Thor thinks to himself, if he can't beat Thanos, then perhaps he can delay him. Cause what was once Odin's power is now his. It's Thor power, which means that it's now linked to Thor's wisdom. So he looks to Thanos and tells him, "Hear me, Thanos, elder storm god thou may be, but I am Thor, Sky Father, who is Midgard's own son. And when I tell the sky of earth to open, open it shall." As Thor sends lightning splitting the sky behind Thanos, he just looks at Thor and laughs, with him believing that Thor had just missed him completely. And it's kind of like your classic bad guy mistake, cause next Thor tells Thanos, before he makes another joke at his expense, that he should turn around and take a look behind him. Cause even though Thor Odinson is not the god of mischief, he's capable of getting a little mischievous when the situation calls for it. And just now, Thor used the All-Power to boost Mjolnir's ability to break open the doors between worlds, to open the portal to the yawning void, standing larger than Thanos himself, followed by winds pushing and pulling Thanos through it. But Thor doesn't put everything into pushing Thanos through this door just yet, but instead he waits, and he waits for Thanos to drop his guard before he demands the winds of Midgard to blow like they've never blown before, sending Thanos through the portal and into the yawning void, as Thor quickly sealed the skies back just after, with him knowing that Thanos will return. And as it stands right now with the all-sleep gripping Thor even tighter, he knows that he is in no shape to stand a chance for the fight that's to come. And in this moment, with Thor being more tired than he would like to admit, he knows that the all-sleep is approaching, and the more power that he spends, the longer and deeper that sleep will be. and his resisting will only extend the amount of time that he'll need to sleep to recharge his Thor force, much like the Odin sleep, because Thor knows for him, just like his father, when he goes into the all sleep, he'll be as vulnerable as any mortal, and he knows that it would be wise for him to head to a place of safety to get this rest. But even now, Thor thinks to himself that perhaps Thanos was right, and he is a fool, because instead of Thor leaving and going to Asgard before the all sleep kicks in, he looks around at the devastation and he thinks to himself, who would he be if he just flew away and left the people of Midgard with the devastation that came here because of him? And Thor is sure of this because he knows that Thanos came here because Thor was here. So next, a very tired and weary Thor uses the all power once again to reverse the damage done by Thanos, which is a pretty sick moment if I do say so, because right here Thor is just like, Odin in Valhalla, be with me. And instead of Thor summoning the storm, Thor summons the calm before the storm, which is pretty nuts because it causes the winds and the lightning to reverse all the damage that was done. And though it doesn't completely restore every single thing 100%, all of the damage that was done is undone. Everyone who is trapped under the rubble, they're now free. But those who are injured, they're still injured. Now they just have the opportunity to get somewhere to get help. And for those who died during the chaos, unfortunately, they're still dead. And looking around, Thor's done all that he could do in this moment. So next, Thor leaves with him knowing if he stays here, Thanos will return here to Midgard looking for him. And he can't go back to Asgard and make his slumber there, because that's just asking for Thanos to bring devastation to his people. So Thor makes his way to the gray area of the moon, which was built by the Inhumans, with it being very similar to the blue area on the opposite side, with it also having its own little atmosphere, which gives Thor something to work with, but also it's been deserted by the Inhumans, so he doesn't have to worry about anyone else being here. And if anyone were to get harmed, it would only be him. And when he gets here, Thor thinks about it, because he knows if Thanos were to just show up, he would be way too weak to put up any kind of fight, unless some miracle or magic were to intervene. And it's right here where he hears someone call his name, who's also made their way out here. And that someone is Loki. And boy, is Thor happy to hear that voice. But right off the bat, Loki asks Thor, will you trust me? Which not only catches Thor off guard, but also with him fighting the all sleep, Thor's struggling to even think straight at this point. So at first Thor's like, great, you're here. Sif must have seen what happened and sent you out. But Loki's like, nah, that ain't exactly what this is. And Loki tells Thor that Sif is the guardian of the Rainbow Bridge, not the babysitter of the Odin son. And Thor just lets Loki know that that sharp tongue is not going to be able to cut through the fog that's descending upon him now, because just moments ago he faced an ancient god that he had to fight off using the all power. And Loki cuts him off right there, finishing Thor's sentence, telling him, and now you face the all sleep. So Thor tells Loki yes, but then he's more or less like, listen up, because he can only stay awake but so much longer to give the instructions that he needs to. So he tells Loki to first warn the Golden Realm, so that way Thor won't feel as bad accepting the protection of Loki's sorceries. But then Loki tells Thor that he has to answer the question, will you trust me? And it must be the right answer. So again, Loki asks, will you trust me as a loyal subject of Asgard? And at first Thor's like, wait, didn't I ask you to do something? And then he's like, sure, they've had their differences in the past, but Thor's answer is yes. He trusts Loki's loyalty. And then next, Loki asks, will you trust me as your sibling who loves you? So Thor tells him yes, he trusts him as his own blood. To where then Loki's like, I got one more question. And now Thor's like, bro, I'm finna pass out. Like, what part of all sleep do you not understand? And in a way, I get Thor's frustration, because Loki's asking all these questions like it's space age pimping or something. Like, would you kill for me? Yeah, if my life's in danger too. And it's like, man, Thor's trying to get to the all sleep. Come on. But Loki then tells Thor that this next question is the most important, because the future rests on it. And the last question that Loki asks is, will you trust me even as your enemy? Which right there just caused 1,000 unpleasant memories to flash in Thor's mind. Memories of Loki's past and evil deeds, and for a moment it even drowns out Thor's weariness. But he thinks about it, and he goes with his heart, and he tells Loki, yes, even as my enemy, I trust you. So be what thou must be, and do what thou must do. As Loki then transforms into what is essentially all of these things in one. Which on one hand has Loki like, greetings Thor, it's been a long time. And Thor agrees. But also, this version of Loki, it's a Loki that Thor has never faced before. Because now this Loki is the teller of tales. which now has Thor like, look, I'm tired. I just fought one war today and I really don't have the energy to show mercy. So he asked Loki, as his enemy, his brother, and his king, do you trust yourself? Is this a wise course? And the response that Loki gives him is, we'll find out. Which sounds like from here, this teller of the tales Loki is going to be putting Thor through a series of tests that really have no limitation to how extravagant or trying they may be. Because prior to this, Loki's come to the conclusion that this is what's needed to be done to prepare Thor for what's coming ahead. And so now real quick, I want to give a special shout out to all the patrons. Thank you guys for all of your support. And for anyone who's new here who wants more information on how to support the channel, I got a link below where you can go to patreon.com/Dopespill. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and we'll do it again on the next one. Alright, later.